Hi there, welcome to No Nonsense Whiskey. My name's Vin PF, and on today's episode we're going back to check out another Summerton release. Now, it's been a couple of months since I checked out a Summerton. They come out every 2 months, but the last time they delivered a bottle to me, it was actually the Dura 18, which I had already covered, but I've still got that bottle sealed, so when I eventually pop that open, I'll probably do like a re-review for you guys and cover that one later. So there was no real urgency for me to pop that and sort of cover it. So if you were interested in checking out that previous bottle, you can go back and look at my previous review. I'm not sure much is going to have changed since then. Anyway, onto the August 2021 bottle. They actually did something a little bit different this time round, where existing members got this, which we'll go into in a moment, and new members got the Whiskey Works King of Trees, which again I've also covered. I did actually buy a bottle of that as well because they opened that up if anyone was an existing member wanted to create a second membership and therefore capitalise on that, they could do that. So I did that, and I actually got another bottle of that again because that's a really good whiskey. Again, if you want to check out the King of Trees video, go back and check out my video on that, and you can have a look at that. So if you were a new member of Summerton looking at this video, then by all means go and check that one out as well. Onto this one then, and this one here is a little bit different to what they've been releasing recently because this is a Summerton exclusive, and if memory serves, the last time they did this was maybe the Christmas before last, and they did one with the Whiskey Baron, and that was two different casks into one. That's becoming increasingly difficult for Summerton Club to achieve because the membership levels, I guess, are going up and up and up. So to do like a single cask or even just a 2 cask is going to be difficult. This one here, I'll show you the label because it's going to be difficult to pick all this out. This is the English, so obviously we've got an English whiskey. The English is in Norfolk. It's the St George's Distillery in Norfolk, and it's the oldest currently operating English distillery. So, they've been around a while. They're not like super big on the marketing side of things right now. I don't think you don't see them much on advertising and stuff, but I've covered a few of the English stuff, and it's all good stuff. So, you can go check out those videos if you're interested in checking out the brand. And what they've done here with the Summerton Club is they've bottled 4 different casks into one vatting, let's say. All 4 of those casks started out as new oak, virgin oak, and have been transferred into refill ex-bourbon casks. I don't think, it says refill, so I'm assuming this isn't like kind of first fill, it's generally speaking a refill one. And the idea behind that, I would assume, is that once they hit the kind of peak flavour profile on the virgin oak, the new oak, then they transferred into something a little less likely to influence the whiskey too much, and just to mellow it out a little bit more. This we often talk on the channel about not kind of new oak or first fill or refill, but there's definitely markets for each of those things. Even casks that have been flogged to death, and are on the kind of 3rd, 4th fill, whatever. There's definitely places in the market for those things because stuff like a 25-year-old single grain, for instance, doesn't want something that's got like loads of oak character to give. It wants a cask that's almost relatively spent to just chill out and mellow over those 2 decades. Bypassing a little bit, but yeah, back to this one. So, as I mentioned, 4 different casks going into one, and that created 1,360 bottles, and they've bottled this at 46%. It's all very interesting. I mean, they've put on here a kind of a phenols level of 0 as well, just to give you an idea. But yeah, there's no sherry influence in this, there's no peat influence in this, it's just simply English whiskey and wood, and then some refill on a kind of no age finishing period. The other thing to note about this is that the 4 casks were between 6 and 8 years old. This is all on the documentation they sent out with the whiskey. So, officially speaking, this would be a 6-year-old whiskey, but we've got something between 6 and 8 years in this thing, which I think is pretty cool. Like that kind of virgin oak, that new oak is going to have a serious influence over that and will come through and create kind of like a bold of flavour, I imagine. But as you can see, I don't need to imagine. I've had a good go on this whiskey. I've only had this something like 3 weeks now, but I just can't seem to leave this thing alone. That's a bit of a spoiler alert for the actual review itself. Let's get into the whiskey and see what we've got. I don't know much about kind of natural colour or non-chill filtered, but I can pretty much guarantee that it is neither of those. It's natural coloured and non-chill filtered. Let's say that. I know Dan, the guy who runs Summerton, pretty well now, and I don't think he's going to be messing around with his whiskey like that. So yeah, you're pretty safe to say that this is a good, awesome colour. Let's check it out on the nose and see what we've got. So for me, all the kind of usual things that you would expect from a new oak barrel, which is bags of vanillas. It's got quite a lot of oak influence onto it as well. So it's the tannins we talk about a lot. So we're talking about some leathery notes, some tobacco-y notes. But it's also quite light and floral, despite those really heavy tannic notes. And we're getting a lot of like honey and caramel and things like that. It's really tasty on the nose. Let's try on the palate. Now, it's 46%, but it actually doesn't taste like 46%. It tastes like a bit higher. 48, almost 50%, I reckon. I'm gonna have another quick sip. It's got a really nice mouthfeel. Bags of those flavours from the nose, all those vanillas, those honeys, those caramels coming across. And it finishes on those tannic notes we said about earlier, those kind of leathery, tobacco-y notes. Quite a high amount of spiciness as well. It's almost like a cinnamon, black peppery spiciness that's coming out of the back end. Finish is fairly long, medium to long, I would say. Pretty good. And sours out towards the end. But all that ever does to me when I drink a whiskey is make me want to drink more of it. So I'm going to have another little sip while we talk about the summary. Now for me, this is astounding. Really love this thing. Obviously, it's difficult to place a value on these things because I have nothing in the market to compare this to, let's say. But in terms of what I paid for it, which is the 50 quid members fee, that's including postage, I should say, as well. That's 50 quid all in every 2 months. If you're not aware of Summerton, then where have you been? But yeah, for me, I'm very happy with what I've spent. This is a really good whiskey. The only complaint, and I put that in kind of like inverted commas, is this is just going to go so quickly, and then it's going to be gone. I'm not going to be able to get this again. There might be some bottles knocking around that Dan might sell a bit later on, but I genuinely don't know anything about that. So for me, this is going to be one of those things that you just enjoy while you've got it, and then hope that one day you might be able to get it again. So yeah. Definitely, if you haven't already, if you're in the UK, make sure you go and check out the Summerton Club. Really good club. I've been a member of theirs for about 2 years, and I've never disappointed by what they send me every 2 months for my 50 quid. It's usually either much cheaper or something pretty cool and interesting like this. It's always interesting. That's what I always say. So yeah, please do go and check them out. And if you're further afield and you can't check out Summerton, then please do go and check out some English whiskey. I enthuse about English whiskey a lot on this channel, obviously being English and British myself. And I would love people that are further afield, the US and over in Asia and whatnot, if you can find some English whiskey, not just these guys, but any English distillery, please do. It's a up-and-coming market and they're making some really good stuff.